yeah, I guess, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but with that, I think it's a really interesting question for you, especially because even from my time studying with you and the students that I've sent to Rowan, you are such a force of emotion with every student that you meet, right? Like you're the personality. It's exhausting, let alone all the stuff you're dealing with too. But I mean, even just that right there, how much more you probably have to be working to get emotion out of the next generation, right?
Oh wow! Boy, you said about 4 or 5 things. I probably wish Hilda was here. She would, you know, you're really emote. Yeah. Well, thanks, I guess. But
Yeah,
no, it's everything is, you try to motivate students. A student comes in. I'm not talking about all of it, but
yeah, just general, right?
what I noticed was if you look at a football, up at the top, those are the really great ones, and at the bottom, those are the ones having trouble, and most of them live like in the middle, so it's sort of shaped like a football. In the past, what I noticed now, it's like an hourglass. You have a group that's really doing well, nothing in the middle, and a whole group that's having a problem.
Wow.
It could be whatever. So, in terms of this group on the bottom, uh, without having that senior year or a good freshman year, depending on what they missed because of COVID, and they're sitting in their mother's house trying to learn tunes and be inspired, and you're trying to give them the tour through uh, YouTube, like what to listen to, and you're hoping you can inspire them. On Zoom was really, really, really tough. Everybody was fried. And when I was finished, like a long day on Zoom, I would just stand up and rub my temples and think, I did the best I could. This is new of me. None of us teach like this. We teach a very social thing. We're not teaching like journalism or something you're going to do by yourself. We're teaching how to interact with people without interacting with people, how you feed off somebody without feeding off somebody. So yeah, it's exhausting. And when we're back, it's not like everybody all of a sudden clicked back into the way it used to be. We have new people that never knew they used to be. So it's more introducing them how to practice, how to get inspired. And I do a lot of like we have Rufus Reed coming in. All right, I guess we should talk. I could talk about the festival. Wrap this into the festival.
Well, I'll tell you, before you wrap it into Rufus, because we do have to get
Okay.
there, you said something that really stuck with me, and I think it'll stick with a lot of people in our network too. We've been ingrained in the bell curve for years, right? Classic top 10%, the top, bottom 10%, and then the meat in the middle. And now your perspective of it being an hourglass, man, that really rung with me, because you're right. Even in, where I'm at in my school, the middle ground is definitely the neglected area where it was usually the populace. Right now, there's no middle anymore. You're either way okay or, way in need. And not that any's better than the other, but it's just such an interesting visual when you have, the middle squashed out and the ends pop. That really resonated with me. I'm sure a lot of people are feeling that.
At least that's what I've seen. And it's not just me. I've talked to, especially because I'm organizing the jazz festival. I'm talking to band directors all the time about different things. But the students that come in are they don't have to be great players, but they may be focused on what they love. I love this. I want this. I always wanted this. Please show me what it's like. That's what I'm talking about. You have a very little, like, I'm kind of interested, blah, blah, very little of that. And then there's a whole slew that they think they want to like it. They think it's what they want. They're not sure, but there's obviously something in it that made them choose to be in it. And I'm not saying like they're bad kids or we're accepting people that shouldn't.
No, right.
But I'm not saying that. That's not what this is. This is noticing what kind of energy you're dealing with as a teacher. And and I know that there are certain things that will click with the student that bring them in. Like it could be anything. It could be once someone understands how to teaching them pentatonics. Somebody will say, "Oh, I get this. I love this device," and that's it. Once they love something, then I have them, and then I could get in and navigate the whole thing. Or they transcribe a solo. This happens a lot, where they transcribe a solo of somebody they've never heard, but they're able to play it, like Paul Desmond on alto, or Benny Green on trombone, or if they can make some kind of connection with something that's in it that exists already, then they feel like they've kind of put their arm through the door and they've maybe touched a little part. As soon as that happens, and it could come from anything, theory, history, a story, a guest coming in. We're going to have a guest come in, could totally turn a kid around, and another kid wouldn't even be affected by it. Another kid will be turned on by, oh, the bebop scale. I love it. So for me as a teacher, I'm sitting on this big Home Depot of stuff and I'm throwing it out, waiting for something to stick. I'm a fisherman chumming. I'm dumping chum in the water, waiting for them to come around and just get close to the boat. I'll catch you, but just, they're all out there, and they just with Facebook or with YouTube, it's so much. What good is a place like Lowe's or Home Depot with all this stuff if you don't know where you're going to look?
Yeah.
I go to Home Depot. I need a nail, and the guy says, "Well, aisle 5, right before." I go to the Home Depot in Mantua. He goes, "It's in the aisle right before New Brunswick. You'll see it." So, what good is this place? What good is Home Depot if it's so big I can't navigate?
Right.
And then we have a little place that I go to, Ace Hardware, Green Tree Road, where I walk in and say, "I need a nail. Follow me." They walk you in. They show you the 3 that they had that you asked for, and they haven't. So, even though they have this big resource, you got to teach them how to navigate. When Oliver Nelson Jr. came and was our guest, I spent 6 weeks sending these guys clips of Oliver Nelson and why he's important. It was a campaign to educate who our guest was. So when the guest came, they knew what they were looking at. So that's, and sometimes that gets them going. You could tell stories for 6 weeks and send them clips. But when the guy walks through the door, they're like, "Oh, this is like the real guy Denis been talking about." I mean, I can't assume they know the stuff anymore. I have to, in my teaching, come up with not the selling of it, but the educating and hopefully exciting them in a way. So I go through and find the best clips. I tell them the best stories. I teach jazz history. I use the Bill Crow Jazz Anecdotes book. Mm-hmm. I'm not using the other thing. Kids don't care if it was blues, Dixieland, ragtime, swing, bebop. Come on. They want to hear about Louis Armstrong
centralizing
marijuana through customs.
Yeah, right.
Then who's this guy? So, but anything that gets them interested, because we're fishermen. We're fishermen trying to get them on the boat.